prosperous.com. Thank you for joining me. Today I want to talk about taking inspired action. Now, we all have goals that we want to achieve, but why should we force ourselves to do things in a manner that society deems acceptable, but we don't enjoy doing them that way? Why can't you wake up every day and ask yourself, what is it that I'm inspired to do today that will help me get one step closer to my goal? And you might think of something that you've never thought of before. And if you've asked the angels for help, they will give you divine guidance. They will give you nudges. They will give you things that pop in your head. And you need to act on those. And it takes practice. The more you practice and you follow your hunches, your nudges, your guidance, the more magical life is. Now, recently, my real estate broker, I've been selling real estate for 30 years, and he had asked me to create a business plan. He wanted to know what my plan was for the year to create business. And I wrote on my business plan that I was going to take inspired action every day to reach my goals. And I gave it to him. And he was not happy with that. Instead, what he had expected that I would write something like, I'm going to make 50 cold calls a day. I'm going to send out a certain amount of emails and promotional marketing materials every day. And I'm going to host a certain amount of open houses every month. And I'm going to have X amount of sales every year. But that's the old school way of doing things. And I have done that. I have done cold calls. And can you be successful doing cold calls? Yes. Does some people like doing cold calls? Yes. But for me, my stomach ached every single second that I did it. And I refuse to work that way anymore. The angels have showed me a different way. You can still have success, but by doing things that inspire you, that raise your vibration. And let me give you a couple examples of how it's worked for me. So the other day, I usually go to the gym every morning, first thing in the morning. But I got an idea that I needed to go later in the afternoon. So I followed that hunch. And while I was there, I ran into an old acquaintance. And we began talking, and he had told me that he was in the market to buy a property and he wanted to, purchase a home. So we started talking and we created a plan, and lo and behold, I ended up selling him a home. But it was all because I followed that hunch to go to the gym at a different time. And, there was business there for me. Another example is I got an idea to call a past client. And I didn't think that she was in the market for real estate at all because I had sold her a retirement home. But she popped into my head, so I just picked up the phone and I said, hello, I'm thinking of you. How are you? I hope things are well. And the next day she returned my call enthusiastically, and she said, I'm so glad you called me because I've been meaning to call you. I want to sell my house and I want to move to another area. And, we had a great time catching up. We talked for quite some time, just catching up on seeing how she was doing. And, I got business out of it. But again, it was because she popped into my head and I picked up the phone. And another example is I had called another past client, said, hey, let's have lunch. It was purely just to have a good time, to catch up. We were having lunch, and in that conversation, she said to me, I have a dream. I'd really like to live on the water. I'd like to have a property with an ocean view. And she had a condo complex in mind. She said, but I just don't know how I can do it because I have to sell my home first. And we live in a very competitive market. So we proceeded to talk, and I gave her some ideas, and I've set her up with, a lender, and I've set her up for success. So now when a property comes up available in that complex, we're ready, willing, and able, and we can compete in this market. And she's one step closer to fulfilling her dream of living on the ocean. And so again, it was an enjoyable day. It was a magical day. And I'm living my life by taking inspired action, building relationships, and having abundance along the way. So it's so much better than making cold calls. So I encourage you to try to live your life that way and stop and listen to what the angels are guiding you to do. Again, you might get a different idea than what you thought you were going to do that day, and do it. You just never know what magical things can happen from that. Or let's say you want to build a business and you know that you have to build a website, but you just feel so daunting to build a website. Well, what do you feel like doing that day? Maybe you just want to doodle on a pad to make a logo. So just do that. And as you're doodling and you're making your logo, before you know it, you have a beautiful logo, but you're getting your creative juices going. And then you might, at that point, step into creating more of your website. And then before you know it, your website is complete. Or let's say you want to write a book, but again, it's overwhelming to start from the beginning. Well, where do you feel inspired to start? Maybe you feel like starting at the end, or maybe you feel like starting in the middle, but you just start. And as you start writing, your creative juices start flowing, and before you know it, you're finishing one chapter, and then you're going to another chapter, and in the end, your book is complete, but it's all done by how you feel that day. Or maybe you have a huge, messy house to clean. We all been there, and you just don't know where to start. Well, maybe you just feel inspired to take one drawer and clean that drawer. And then when you're done with that drawer, you're like, maybe I feel like doing another drawer. And then from there, you're like, now I could tackle the closet. And then before you know it, one room is done. But it wasn't a painful process. So, the angels want you to have all the things that you want in life. They will give you nudges, they will give you hunches, they will give you ideas. So learn to listen. It takes practice, but the more you practice and the more you act on it, the more magical life is. It doesn't have to be the old school, hard way, miserable way to do things. So remember to take inspired action, Earth Angels. Go out and make it a great day. Don't forget to go to yourangelwishes.com and make your wishes to the angels and return and share your stories when the angels answer your wishes, because I know they will. Angel blessings.